Welcome back to GoDoBe EmPowerMe. I'm Joe Goskowski, your host, your guide, and your coach throughout this journey. In the last module, we finished off with the first foundation, that of potential. The key takeaways from this module was that each of us, yes, has great potential, but remember, just having it, that doesn't actually mean that we're going to accomplish anything. In reality, when we look at the world around us and we ask the question, if we all have such great potential, then why are there so many highly educated individuals who've accomplished so little in life? Certainly not for lack of potential. Then why? Although it is true that we already possess great potential, that we already have everything that we need to be successful, and that we have the tools within us already, the challenge isn't that we don't have those things. The challenge is that maybe we're just not using them the right way. So today we're going to begin to learn how to use those tools, and we'll do this by exploring the second foundation, that of belief. And over the course of the next few modules, we'll come to fully understand what these tools are and how we can use them in the right way. In fact, for achieving any kind of health, wealth, and happiness, this is where it all starts to happen. Before we can fully utilize this tool and its raw power, we first need to ask the question, what the heck is a belief? I mean, what does it actually mean? Think about that for a second. A typical definition of a belief is something that one accepts as true or real. So the first thing that we notice is that the idea of belief has two parts to it. The first part is this notion that a belief has or is something. Now, that something can either be conceptual, like an idea, proposition, or a condition, or it can be physical, like a thing, an object, or an item, and so on. The next part of our definition includes the notion that we accept that something, whatever it is, either material or conceptual, as though it is true or real, that we trust in it, have faith in it, and or have confidence in it. Now let's put these pieces back together. And what do we get? Well, we get that a belief is an object or an idea that we consider that object or idea to be true, valid, and trustable. Do you see or sense any sort of a problem here? Because a belief requires the acceptance of truth, something as true or valid. What if we or someone or anyone happens to believe in something that is not true, that is not valid or not correct? In other words, what if what we believe is wrong? It's garbage. Our belief in a thing does not mean that that thing that we believe in is actually true. It only means that we accept it as true for us. Hence, our belief is now subjective. Now, since the idea of a belief doesn't require that the thing believed in is actually true, then it also suggests that the thing believed in might be totally false, wrong, incorrect, invalid, an error, or a hugely grave mistake. The point is that just because you and I have a belief about something that we consider to be true, that doesn't make it true for everybody else. Let's look at a simple example of this idea. What if we believe that someone wanted to hurt us? How might we feel if that person walked into the room that we are in right now? Well, it's clear that what we believe plays a powerful role in our lives because we would react to that situation. For all human beings, what we believe in, our beliefs, they act as guardrails in our lives. They define what we do, what we think, and what we feel. They act as either enablers to move us forward, or they act as disablers, where they stop us in our tracks. We usually do our best to stay consistent with what we believe. If we believe that something is bad, then we usually do our best to avoid it. If we believe something is good, we usually do our best to get it. Now, let's consider one last example to illustrate this point. Let's look at a belief that's been and continues to be a little bit controversial. But before we actually do this, I want to qualify that we're only using this belief as an example. We are not going to take a position either way on this belief. We are simply using it to illustrate a point. Here it is. The belief that vaccines are not safe for kids and that they can cause both physical and or mental disabilities. Now remember, we're not taking a position on this belief either way. We don't agree with it and we don't disagree with it. It's purely for the sake of illustrating a point. So let's assume for a moment that we do have young kids and we believe that statement that vaccines are dangerous for kids. Now here's the question. What are the chances that we would voluntarily bring our kids to a doctor to get them vaccinated? The answer? Probably pretty slim. What if we believe the opposite to be true, that vaccines are safe and necessary to protect our kids? Then what would we do? Well, in this case, the chances are that we would voluntarily bring our child into the doctor to get them vaccinated, and the probability of that is quite high. What's the cause of the difference in the actions that we took? Well, it's what we believe. In either case, we learned whatever we believe tends to affect the actions that we take and the actions that we do not take. When it comes to a belief or our belief systems, it really doesn't matter if something is true objectively. What matters for us is that we believe it to be true. Now imagine for a moment what this would mean. If I'm taking some action today, doing or not doing something because of what I believe, then maybe, just maybe, one of the reasons why things aren't going the way I want my life, because that something I believe in is wrong and it's preventing me from doing what I should be doing. At first, it might be a little hard to accept, but it is true. It suggests that maybe what I believe about my partner's intention is not true, or what I believe about my coworker may not be correct, or what I believe about some person out there in the world, maybe it's actually totally false, made up, or a lie. The external world that we live in follows a simple stimulus and response model. We talked about this before. If you poke me with a stick, that's the stimulus. I will cry. That's the response. This is the nature of the external world, the causal world, the world that we all live in. And it's important to note that we rarely have any control over this world. We simply try to manage it, try to navigate through it. One of the greatest obstacles to our or anyone's success in life is not something in this outside world that holds us back. No, it is ourselves. We, more often than not, are our own worst enemy. We are the ones holding ourselves back. We are the ones that are causing our own pain, the reason that we are where we are. It's not something that someone or something out there in the world is doing to us. It's not an external force that's holding us back or causing us our problems. It never was. It's our inner world that keeps doing it to us. The fact that we recognize and realize this now gives us an opportunity to correct it, to change it. Our beliefs become the boundaries that often prevent us from not only seeing a bigger picture, but also prevent us potentially from acting upon it. And understanding the power of beliefs is critical for us to ensure that what we believe is actually true. And when it's true, we act accordingly. If we really want to get out of the trap that some of our past beliefs might have set for us, then we're going to need to understand this belief phenomenon entirely. Over the course of the next few modules, we are going to break down everything that we can about beliefs and belief systems, including how they work, where they come from, how we validate them, and even how we can change them. For now, however, this brings us to the end of today's module. And here is our takeaway activity. Consider for a moment that something you believe in, something important or meaningful or central to you and your life, were in fact not true at all. That belief, whatever it happens to be, is actually totally wrong and entirely false. Then I want you to reflect on a couple of questions. First, how does that make you feel that something you always believed in is actually wrong or false? And second, would it make it easy for you to change that false belief? This now brings us to the end of this module, where I'm going to leave you with a final thought for today. This one is from Ernst Demnit, a French priest, writer, and lecturer. He wrote, "The happiness of most people is not ruined by great catastrophes or fatal errors, but by the repetition of slowly destructive little things." Until I see you next time, have an absolutely amazing day. I'll see you very, very soon.